Good evening. Good evening. How is everybody today? This is Wednesday, October 23rd, 2019. Man, can you believe how time has flown? Oh my goodness. It was just January, like 2 weeks ago. It's already October and coming up on the end of the year. So welcome to the USBC directory. Again, I'm Brian Morse with the United States Black Chambers. We're the headquarters for roughly 100 Black Chambers of Commerce across the country. And we deal with thousands upon thousands of Black business owners across the country, corporate partners, governments, and all of that. So I'm also the founder of the USBC directory, the largest Black business directory in the world. And if you are not listed in the directory, make sure you contact us. Or actually, right while we're getting started, go ahead and start placing down in the comments who you are, where you're from. If you're a business owner, place the name of your business down in the comments as well. I'm excited about this show. This is going to be a great show this evening. So go ahead and start sharing the broadcast. I talk to a lot of business owners, and I'm online all the time, and I see a lot of business owners discussing funnels and discussing web traffic and how to increase their sales. And we decided to bring somebody in that knows exactly how to do that and does it on a daily basis, on an ongoing basis. So this is great. So start sharing the broadcast. Let everyone know that we are live. We are on today. And this is exciting. This is really good. So if you're a business owner and you want to increase your business, we all go through times with our business where business is not where we want it to be. It's not growing the way we want it to grow. It's not expanding the way we want it to expand. And so it's important that we understand what to do and how to begin to position ourselves to be able to grow and expand our company. So go ahead and start placing down in the comments, start sharing the broadcast, place down in the comments your name, where you're from, your business name, who you are, share the broadcast, let everyone that we know that we are on. And I'm going to give a few announcements here before we get started, before we bring our guests on today. So this is absolutely great. Excited. So last week, of course, and the week before last, we had Wise Hemp Tea and Cannabis. That was a popular show. Everybody was loving that show. And we will be talking about how to deal with and how to grow our companies. And actually, we'll be bringing her back on as well. We'll be bringing her back onto the broadcast also. Which is great. And also, we have another member that will be on here soon discussing hemp and cannabis also. So this is great. So again, go ahead and start sharing down in the broadcast, sharing down in the comments your name, and start sharing the broadcast. Let everyone know that we are on. And we have a great guest on with us today. I'm going to give everybody a few minutes just to get settled. So if you're home, maybe you have something to drink, you got some food, just sit back and relax, and let's enjoy the show. I'm really excited about what we're going to be discussing today, because this is a topic that we all need to know about. If you're having great sales with your company, great. I think we could always have better sales. We could always increase our traffic. We can always increase what we're doing in business, but we need to know some of the new tricks that are taking place and what other individuals are doing to really grow business. And that's what we'll be discussing today. So again, place it down in the comments. My apologies. Place it down in the comments. Place it down in the comments, your name and your business name, where you're from, and we're going to get ready to get started. So this is really a good one today. So again, United States Black Chambers, with the headquarters for many Black chambers across the country. We'd love to definitely work with you. And if you have not done so yet, make sure you download the app. So it's coming up on holiday time. It's coming up on the holidays, Black Friday, Christmas time to shop. And we want to make sure that we're shopping with Black-owned businesses. We want to make sure that we're growing our businesses and leveraging our businesses and making sure that they're getting some of our dollars and a lot of our dollars during the holiday season. So again, the way you can download the app is USBC, which stands for United States Black Chambers, USBC directory. Again, USBC directory, you can download it on Apple or you can download it on Android. Go ahead and start downloading that now. If you haven't downloaded it, especially if you're watching every week, you should have downloaded that already. Download it and tell everybody else that there's the largest Black-owned business directory, lists over 100,000 Black-owned businesses. So make sure you download it and tell some of your friends to download it so that we can support our businesses. We can definitely support our businesses. Also, start a watch party. So if you're watching, so go ahead and start a watch party on your page. Share it on your homepage, share it in your groups, start a watch party with this inside of your groups. You know, there are a lot of Black business groups here on Facebook, and there are many individuals that are always talking about how to increase sales and how to grow their business. So this is what we brought someone on who is a professional who's going to be discussing with many of us. So I'm excited to learn myself. There's a lot that I want to learn about this particular conversation. I've been knowing this gentleman now for a little bit over a year now, and he's discussed with me many things that he's done for many of his clients. So this is really, really good. All right, so go ahead and start sharing here. All right, so let's do this. Again, you downloaded the app, and we have a great guest. Give me 1 second here. All right, and so this is what we're going to do. Let me announce today our sponsor. We do have a sponsor for the show, and I want to say thank you to all of the sponsors of the show. So we have a lot of individuals, a lot of our members are sponsoring the show, and they are watching the show. They love the show. So I want to say thank you to all of the sponsors who have been sponsoring the show. And I do also want to say, if you would like to be on the show, just place it down in the comments. Say, hey, I would love to have my business on the show. Place it down in the comments, and we'll reach out to you. I will tell you, it's so popular here within the chamber that we have every show booked until the end of the year, except for one. So actually, we do have one open space for the end of the year. So if you would like to be on the show, place it down in the comments. Brian, I would love to. I got a great business. It's going to blow up. I need everybody to know about it. Send me an email, put a comment down in the bottom, and we'll be reaching out to you to see how we can work together with you. This is great. So this episode of the USBC Directory Live is sponsored by Right Direction Technology Solutions. It's another IT company. Right Direction Technology Solutions employs innovative and driven IT professionals who provide risk management, state-of-the-art information technology services to their customers. Right Direction Technology Solutions has proven experience in supporting information systems, administrative functions, and process improvements throughout the government, and will continue to provide superior support to their customers. Right Direction Technology Solutions provides high-quality, customer-focused, and cost-effective innovative solutions that deliver world-class IT professional services and productions that meet our customers' requirements on time, within budget. That's important, within budget, and exceeding their expectations. So Right Direction Technology Solutions is committed to building long-term partnerships with their clients through quality service by providing the best technical workforce and the latest technologies to ensure their customers accomplish their missions. Contact Right Direction Technology Solutions at www.right, R-I-G-H-T, direction, D-I-R-E-C-T-I-O-N, tech, T-E-C-H.com, or by email at jhutchins, J as in justice, Hutchins, H-U-T-C-H-I-N-S, at rightdirectiontech.com. So I'm going to give that one more time. So contact Right Direction Technology Solutions at www.right, R-I-G-H-T, direction, D-I-R-E-C-T-I-O-N, tech, T-E-C-H.com, or by email at jhutchins, J as in justice, Hutchins, H-U-T-C-H-I-N-S, at rightdirectiontech.com. And we'll place that down in the comments for you as well, so that way you can grab that information there as well. All right, so listen, I'm really excited. So again, continue to share the broadcast. If you know a business owner that's been struggling, if you know of a business owner that's been wanting to know how to grow their company, it doesn't matter what type of business it is. It could be a skincare company, a hair company, construction company, any type of company that's wanting to grow their traffic, wanting to increase their sales, whatever it is, tell them to tune into this broadcast. Go ahead and share this broadcast with them and tell them to tune in to this on tonight, which is excellent. So, all right, without further ado, I'm going to introduce our guest for today. Our guest, his name is Mr. Sam Bell, and Sam Bell of Net Market Resources is an influential speaker, industry thought leader, and social advertising extraordinaire. Net Market Resources is $1 million company, and Sam Bell started his first agency, PPC Boutique, 2009, right as the social media was starting to attract mainstream attention. Since then, he's taken the knowledge gleaned from nearly a decade of advertising experience, well, over a decade now, roughly a decade, advertising experience, and used it to leverage incredible results for his clients. And these results, together with unparalleled dedication to his clients' success and his deep industry insights, have led many to call him the social ads engineer. Welcome, Mr. Sam Bell, to the broadcast. That's a great name, sir. I hope you live up to it. That's a great name.
Oh, yeah, absolutely, Brian. And thanks for having me. I'm super excited to be here and share some information with all the members and all the members that are out there. Hello, it's a pleasure to connect with you. And I'm excited for today's interview.
No, this is really great. I'm really excited about this conversation because I think there are large companies that need to know, how do I increase my traffic? How do I gain more business? What do I need to do? Do I use Facebook? Do I use Instagram? Do I use Twitter? Do I use WhatsApp? What do I use to increase my sales? And you've been doing it now for 10 years. So what I would love for you to do is tell everybody a little bit about your background. And
Sure.
again, everyone, this is $1 million company. So I like to say that so that way everyone understands how to approach you. So tell everyone a little bit about you and how you got started.
Yeah, absolutely. So I actually got into this business accidentally. My background initially is IT. So I started as an IT administrator. So I've always been fascinated with technology and the internet and how all that works. But I actually started in real estate. I started buying and selling real estate in Atlanta back in 2005. And at the time, I still had a full-time job working for the U.S. Army Corps of Engineers. And I wound up quitting that job after I probably did a couple of deals and I made enough money to just go out full time. So I did that, for around 2 years, and around 2007, what I noticed is that, the market started to slow down. So a lot of my buyers locally, they started drying up. So I'm like, well, how can I start attracting people, and getting buyers maybe outside of the market of just Atlanta, and get other people who may be in other locations who will be willing to invest. So I started leveraging the stuff that I've been learning online, started leveraging social media, Web 2.0 properties, started taking videos of like my properties, uploading to YouTube, and developed a whole process and system to attract buyers outside of the market. And I started teaching this. I started teaching other investors how to leverage social media and Web 2.0 technologies at the time, because again, all this stuff was brand new. I started really educating and teaching them on how they can leverage it as well. So I wound up creating a course, and I partnered up with a social network called realestateinvestor.com at the time that was designed specifically for real estate investors, and they had a large audience. So I partnered up with them. I created all the content, and that's how I got into the digital marketing and information marketing space, if you will, through real estate. Fast forward a year or so later, once I created that product, launched some different coaching and training programs, and I also launched a SaaS platform for investors to find REOs and banco properties. And really what happened was around 2009, because I had been in that industry for around 2 years, I had the opportunity to establish and build a lot of relationships with other real estate educators in the marketplace. And at the time, there was no Facebook ads. The only real ads platform that you can leverage to generate leads and to really get your business out there was Google. It was the 800-pound gorilla. And if you weren't able to run on Google, then you really weren't getting any leads. So at that time, there was a big...
How expensive was Google back then?
Well, I mean, it was a lot cheaper than it is now. There were a lot more advertising spaces, but they really started to crack down from a compliance standpoint. So if you didn't have your website set up a certain way, or if you said things that Google deemed as certain claims, basically what they did is they just shut your ad account down. So you had all of these businesses that were successfully generating leads on a consistent basis, basically get their whole traffic source shut off. So they had no way to acquire clients and customers. And, every business knows that, traffic, especially online, is the lifeblood of your business. So if you're not getting traffic, even if you have an offline business, if you're not getting foot traffic or people are not coming to you to buy your products and services, then your business is not going to be around for much longer. So what happened is people started hiring me to consult with them to help them, so that way they could actually run compliantly and really get back in the good graces of Google. So through the consulting world, that's when I realized that I really enjoyed being able to help people begin to leverage, technology and paid media to acquire customers in a way to do it in a compliant way, so that way they would keep their accounts around for long periods of time. And this was back in 2009, and obviously since then we've expanded to other platforms. So we run primarily on three major platforms: Facebook, Google, and YouTube. But now, because of such of the shift in social media, as well as the ability to target the way that we can now, most of all of our traffic campaigns start on Facebook, and we still leverage Google, we still leverage YouTube to expand on that as well. But the power of social media and what you're able to do, and the way that you're able to engage with prospects and people that will eventually convert into paying clients and customers, it's amazing, what's available.
Yeah, it's kind of hard to avoid Facebook, right?
Yeah.
It's, I just watched the movie the other day called The Great Hack. For everybody out there, I know we're on Facebook now, and we're actually streaming on Facebook and on YouTube. So if you also want to catch this broadcast on YouTube, you can catch on both of them. But Facebook is such a huge platform; it is hard to avoid. You've been able to kind of master that. So take us back to the beginning. So 2009, you were in real estate. How did you get your first client and into doing this type of business and doing some funnels of lead generation?
Yeah. So like I mentioned, essentially what happened was Google shut down a lot of people. So because people knew that I had successfully grown my SaaS business using paid ads with Google, as well as I was kind of known and branded as the social media web 2.0 guy, a lot of people just started coming to me, and I got hired for some consulting work, and I started doing some consulting work, that's when I really determined that I enjoy this and that I can turn this into a full-time business, because people really didn't understand customer acquisition using paid media at the time. It was a very new thing, and it's still a new thing. We all know that billions and billions of dollars are being spent on digital advertising, and money that would be spent traditionally on traditional marketing channels such as television, print media. A lot of those advertising dollars have been shifting to the digital landscape, and
let me jump in right there.
Sure.
That's happening. You have the great conglomerates who do ad buys, and you can spend a ton of money pouring your money into that type of advertising. But the issue with that, and in the past, is that you could not track it, and you did not know if your customer was really coming from the radio, from the television, from the newspaper. Because a lot of times you may see an ad on television, and you might go to the restaurant or to the gas station, to the grocery store, wherever it is, and you might never tell them, hey, I found you, I heard your radio broadcast. You might just go. But the good thing, obviously, with social media is you can track it. And so talk about how that's been able to kind of change the business, change the market.
Well, yes. I mean, so there have been ways to track traditional media. It's very manual and very antiquated, and it would take a long time and a significant amount of money to get any data that you can really use. Whereas in the digital landscape, you can track everything. Okay, when smartphones came out and everyone started using their mobile devices for browsing online, shopping online, now to the point where everyone's really dependent upon that. Everything you do, everywhere you go, it's actually kind of scary when you really think about how much data that these big conglomerates have on us. From a business and marketing standpoint, though, it's absolutely wonderful for us because of the level of data that's available. We can be very intentional about our marketing, not only from a demographic standpoint, but also from a psychographic standpoint, and really engage with people. So as opposed to sending out traditional broadcast messages, like you would from a traditional marketing standpoint. You can be very specific, and you can craft your marketing and messaging to be much more personal, and you can craft your messaging to speak specifically to individuals, interests, likes, needs, and wants from a B2C standpoint, and also even from a B2B standpoint.
Okay, so B2C is business to customer, and
Correct.
B2B is business to business.
Correct.
Okay.
Absolutely. So, there's massive amounts of data out there, and you can track everything, which really affords you the opportunity to really maximize your advertising dollars. If I ran an ad in a magazine, I would have to put in some sort of special code that people would have to reference in order to be able to track that back. Or if I was doing television marketing, I would have to use some sort of special, code or some sort of special number to track that. So there are ways, but you cannot be as detailed. Whereas I run an online campaign, I can know exactly what age demographic, what their interests are. I can tell what web page they came on, what color of the web page, the imagery that performed the best. There's all types of data, and what this allows you to do is really optimize your sales process and make incremental improvements over time to really maximize your advertising dollars as well as your average order value, depending on the type of business that you're in. Some businesses, sell directly to customers online, and there are some businesses that are service-based business, consulting-based businesses, where there is a conversation that needs to take place, or maybe a demonstration if you're selling SaaS products that needs to take place. But the initial marketing that goes on, that leads up to that conversation, or that leads up to that demo, depending on, again, what product or service you're selling, you can measure everything all the way through and through.
No, this is good. This is really great. All right, so take us. Let's do a little experiment. Let's do this. Tell us about the type of companies that you started out working with, and the type of companies that you've grown to work with now.
Sure. So, when we first started, we worked primarily with real estate educators. So these are individuals who specialize in, buying and selling houses, and they also teach people how to buy and sell houses. Since then, we've expanded to multiple verticals in the fitness industry, in the coaching and consulting industry, service-based businesses. We've also worked with nonprofit organizations to get their messaging out there. We've also worked with artists and musicians. But right now, the primary types of businesses that we work with are service-based and consulting-based business. So if you offer some sort of high-end service that warrants a phone conversation, and when I say high-end service, meaning that your average order value will be in the range of $3,000 or more, or if you're selling some sort of high-ticket product where the average sale would be $3,000 or more, then that's what we really specialize in. So regardless of what the vertical is, whether you're an attorney or if you're selling consulting services or even if you have products, high-end products that are specialty type products where you need to speak with decision makers, what we do is we identify, who your target customer is, and then we develop online sales processes to educate, inform, and eventually generate a lead or an appointment, so that way you can have a sales conversation. But the actual business vertical can vary. I mean, we work with certified financial planners, like I said, fitness people. The range, doctors, lawyers, across the board.
That's great. So give us because that's really excellent. So give us some success stories that you had, companies that you maybe you started working out with, and they weren't doing that many sales, and take us through that process of the things that you've been able to help and how you've been able to help.
Yeah, absolutely. I think one of the more memorable success stories is a gentleman that came to me. This guy had been working in the coaching industry for other companies for quite some time, and he wanted to go out on his own, if you will. The business model that he was familiar with and that a lot of large coaching companies run is very capital intensive, meaning that if I'm going to run a traditional seminar model, there's a lot of overhead and costs that's involved with that, from renting the hotel, and if I'm going to go into a particular city, I have to do a blitz marketing campaign, generally 30 days out. So that means I'm doing radio ads, I'm doing television ads, I'm doing online ads. So before you even go into a market to offer your products or services, you may spend anywhere between $15,000 to $30,000 just doing a marketing campaign, which obviously begins to add up. So he came to us to help him, did the traditional model, spent a ton of money, and basically lost a ton of money because he was not able to fill the seats at the live event that he was holding.
What kind of event was he having?
He was having a real estate education event.
Okay.
So he told us, what he wanted to do, did the event bombed, cost him a ton of money. And essentially I made a suggestion. I said, hey, doing events are great. And it's a great way to generate revenue, but you have to go about it a certain way. And this particular model is very capital intensive. For half of the amount of money that you spent on putting this event together, the marketing, the staff, you spent close to $50,000. We could take 15 to 20,000, and we can replicate that online, and we can acquire customers to sell your products and services at a much cheaper rate. So essentially what we did, he said, okay, great. I need to do something, because if not, we're going to go out of business.
Yeah, we're about to go bankrupt.
Yeah. So what we did is we developed an online sales process that we call the client flow. And essentially what we did for him is we built this thing. We helped him develop and structure his offer and position his offer. And then we drove traffic from Facebook to a webinar, similar to what we're doing here, but we automated the entire process. So that way it ran 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. So we did an automated webinar. We drove traffic into the automated webinar, and he started booking sales consultations through that sales system that we developed for him. Fast forward, within 30 days of us launching that, he wound up doing $100,000 in sales, just from that one campaign. So basically he went from, losing close to $50,000 doing the traditional offline live event to doing an online model that we helped develop for him. And he did $100,000 in sales, which basically turned his business around and saved it. So that's really one of the more memorable stories. And we have many other case studies where we've worked with people who basically did not have any type of online sales process or client attraction process, and we implemented the same type of system for them to help them generate 6 to 7 figures in sales as well.
Let me go back to that. So that particular company, did you generate leads for him and they had to close the sale? Like you generated leads, they called them up, and then he closed the sale?
Exactly.
Is that what you did?
Exactly. So essentially, when you're selling a high-end product or service, one of the things that a lot of people think about is that, well, I want to sell it. I got to be in front of someone to sell it, right? So that's why a lot of people do live events, which are great because you have the opportunity to have that connection and be in front of someone. But you can also do and get that same effect virtually, just like we're doing now, with a webinar or through a live conference call of sorts. So the way that you position and you put your marketing message out there to the masses is important, because you want to make sure that people are educated and understand exactly what it is that you have to offer in the first place. And you want to make sure you position yourself as an authority, right? So as opposed to it being like a cold outreach where I'm just picking up the phone and calling people, or someone just filled out a form and I'm getting called, that is not good positioning. So we had to structure it to where they reached out and they intentionally, after they were properly educated, they intentionally booked a call, and there was a qualification process that they had to go through. So that totally changed the positioning to where they were qualifying themselves to him, to where they had
Wow.
to work with him, right? So they had to go through this process, answer these questions, and before they got on the phone, he was able to review this information to make sure that they would be a good fit for him to work with. Because, you know, all clients are not good clients. And, you know, a lot of times when I speak to a lot of business owners, I ask them, you know, who's your ideal customers? Who's your target customer? And they say everybody. And that tells me right then that they're not really clear on their customer avatar. You know, one of the things that I tell every business owner, I don't care what, you know, vertical you're in or what product or service you're selling, everyone's not your customer.
Right.
You have one type of customer that's your ideal customer. You want to be very clear on that because you want to be able to speak directly to them, not only in your marketing messaging, but also when you're doing your targeting and you're doing your research. You want to make sure that you're going after the right demographic, you're going after the right psychographic, that you're talking about things in your marketing that are relevant to them, and that you also have congruency all the way from your marketing message to your conversion mechanism to your sales presentation, however you may be presenting your offer. You know, so it's very, very important that you have the proper positioning to do so.
No, that is amazing. All right, so let's start from the beginning. So the first days a client comes to you, you know, like that client did, say, hey, we're losing money. Actually, you went to him, but you know, let's say you get a new client now. They come to you. What is the first thing that you would do with that company? Let's use a hypothetical. I know you deal with larger companies now, but let's say that their revenue is between $25,000 and $50,000. Let's just use this as an example.
Okay.
What would be the first thing that you would do with that client?
So the first thing that I will want to be clear on is, again, just what I said. You know, who is your target customer? Okay, so I want to make sure that they understand exactly who their customer is, because if you're going to put together a marketing campaign, whether you're using paid ads or content, you want to be very intentional about the messaging and how you structure the messaging, so that way it resonates directly with that individual. So the first thing is for us to actually go through and do what we call a customer avatar worksheet, where we do a deep dive into who their customer is, exactly, you know, what their pains, what their issues, what their challenges are, as well as what are their interests. Once we're clear on that and who they're going after, then we want to look at their offer. What is it that you're selling, and what is your value proposition, right? So what is the product that you're offering? What is the service that you're offering? What's your value proposition? And then what is your unique selling proposition? What is it that makes your product or service unique from other things that are out there in the marketplace? Because just because you go into business doesn't necessarily mean people are going to buy from you just because you're in business. You have to be out there and you have to sell yourself, and you have to justify why people should give you their hard-earned money. Why should they spend, you know, their money with you specifically, right? So we want to identify who the customer is. We want to make sure that we have a offer that's positioned, and that we have a good value proposition as well as a unique selling proposition to differentiate our offering from everything that's out there in the marketplace. So once we're clear on exactly what that offer is and how do we differentiate that offer, then we start to structure the messaging around that offer, right? And based on what the needs of the client, what the customers are, and the pain points, then we want to structure our marketing message so that way we identify the pain points and that we structure our offer as a solution to resolve those pain points, right? Because if your customer is dealing with a certain issue, whatever that challenge may be, if even, you know, so let's say if you're offering, for example, some sort of service, right? And your service fulfills a need. Let's just use taxes, for example. There are a lot of people out there that do taxes, and a lot of times people treat that as like a commodity. Well, I just need to get a refund, right? So how can you differentiate yourself in a marketplace so that way people come to you, right? So it could be the personal touch. It could be maybe you do an evaluation to show them not only how they can, you know, save money or maybe even get a bigger refund, but show them, you know, the fastest route to get that refund, the fastest way to make sure that they're maximizing all their deductions to increase, you know, their refund. Or if there's dealing with a business, how can I reduce my tax liability, right? And then what are some things that that I can do to do so, and really giving people some insight as to things that that the business can do to reduce that, right? And make it in position in such a way that is different from the other people that are out there, right? Because you just don't want to have another Me Too offer, right? Because there's thousands of people that may offer tax service, but this is how we do it, and this is the thing that makes us unique, and this is the level of service that we're providing.
No, that is so you help them find out who their customer is. You help them to narrow down who their customer is and who it should be.
Absolutely. Yeah, we get very specific, and we're very intentional about that.
I think that is one of the most important things that we could do as business owners and this is one of the things that I did in business. I do have a sales background, so I'm used to actually dealing with individuals face to face. So it's great to have companies like yours who know how to deal with technology. But I learned in business, and I asked myself, who are your top 3 customers? After you do business for 6 months to a year, you should be able to see some type of format, something that has happened over the year, and be able to see who has been coming to you and who's been buying from you. And so I first looked at my top 5 and my top 10, and then I focused on cutting away that bottom 7 so I can focus on the top 3, because these are my easy customers. I'm like, where is the low-hanging fruit and where are the easy customers?
Right. Yeah, we call that the Pareto principle, right? That's the 80-20 rule, right? Because in business, if you do look at your data, you'll notice that 20% of your revenue 80% of your revenue comes from 20% of your customers, right? It's that top 20%, right? And those are the people that you want to focus in on. Those are the people that you want to be attracting and doing business with, right? So even of your target customer, once you identify that, of those people, there's only going to be the 20% that's going to generate the most revenue. So you want to make sure that your marketing and that you're focused on your messaging to go after those individuals. And the great part about marketing online is that even if you have never sold anything and you're just starting out, there's enough information out there to go out there and research and identify the best target markets. You can go out there and see who are the big players in the marketplace currently, and even reverse engineer what's working. A lot of times we feel as though that we have to invent something new, or that we have to create something, different. And I think, that doesn't make sense. And pioneers, especially in the internet, a lot of times they get slaughtered. We hear the unicorn stories about the Facebooks and about the Googles and all that other stuff, but the reality is there are thousands of other startups that didn't make it, right? So as opposed to trying to go and come up with something new, why reinvent the wheel? Go out there and evaluate people who are in the market that are serving the type of customers that you want to serve. See what they're doing, okay? See exactly how they're marketing, what type of messaging that they're using, what channels are they marketing on, and then go and reverse engineer their sales process, right? And then once you've gone through that and you've identified, the marketing messages that seem to work, you'll begin to notice patterns across the board. And then what you want to do is replicate that and put your unique spin on it. You want to create something, and you want to identify and find that gap. What is it that they're not saying? Okay. What is it that they're not doing? Or what is it that they're not offering that I can add to my offer that will create a higher perceived value? So now I can actually go and compete with this business. So, the first thing I would say is don't reinvent the wheel. See what's already out there in the market. Look at what your competitors are doing. See who actually has successful marketing campaigns. Reverse engineer that process. Look for the gap. And then once you identify the gap, see where you can actually add additional value to increase the perceived value. And now you can go and compete with the people that are already in the marketplace.
Good. That is great stuff. I have a question I'm going to follow up with that. But before I go too far, I want to tell everyone we're here with Sam Bell of Net Market Research. And also want to say hello to Africa, Edna, Jasmine, and Amir. Welcome to the broadcast. Share the broadcast. If you have any questions, make sure to place them down in the bottom. If you have any questions down there, which is great. So this is really, really good. Because now, what are some of the common mistakes that you see? Let me back it up a little bit. Black women are leading the nation at starting their own businesses. And
Yeah.
what I see a lot as I travel around, I see a lot of women going into skincare and hair care businesses. So there are a lot of those. I'm always of the mindset that, we really need to come together and join larger companies and make larger companies so that we can make more money. But so for the Black women out there that are watching this broadcast, that are starting a business, what are some of the common mistakes that you see business owners make in trying to increase their sales?
Yeah, that's a great question. So I think one of the most common mistakes that that business owners make is that they don't really take time to study the market and to identify trends in the market, especially when you're going into a very competitive market, looking for trends like what are people actively buying and seeing how you can actually take advantage of that. When you're in the hair care industry, for example, there are some things that are trending. So you want to be able to capture those trends and position your products and insert them in those trends, especially online, because the news cycle happens. There's always a news cycle. There's always something going on. So, like, how can I tie in my marketing of my product or service into current events that's going to make it relevant? How can I look at trends that are occurring in the market and then tie it into my marketing, right? So that way we can stand out. And then again, looking at really what are the needs of the customers, and then how can I differentiate myself? What is my mechanism? What is my unique mechanism of my product offering that will make mine stand out? And really taking the time to study marketing, whether people realize it or not, if you own a business, you are automatically in marketing and sales. Period.
Again.
Period. I don't care what type of business you're in marketing and sales. And I think the biggest mistake is that a lot of people don't really come to that realization until it's too late. We spend a lot of time doing things that aren't really relevant to the business, because the whole purpose of the business at the end of the day is to exchange value and bring in money, period. So if you are not actively doing marketing and sales and you're doing what I call busy work, then I would say you need to reshift the focus, right? Because if you're doing all of these other things and you're focusing in on all these other things and you are not doing marketing and you're not selling, you're not going to have you're not going to be in business long. So actively marketing and selling and really studying marketing and sales.
Yeah.
Marketing is a it's a wonderful thing because you have the opportunity to show people the value of your product or service in a very unique way. And there's a science to it, and there's also the art. The science is all the data and the numbers, right? And you're able to do that with digital marketing and really see that. But then the art form comes in how do you position, how do you talk and communicate with people to earn their respect, to earn their trust, and to influence them to want to buy from you, right? How can you make your brand or your product likable? How can you make your brand or your product stand out, or people remember your brand or product, so that way if they have a choice between one or two, that they remember your product and they want to do business with you, right? If you look at some of what a lot of the bigger brands have done in the health and beauty space, you have influencers, for example, like Kylie Jenner. Now, she didn't do anything other than she had a brand, and she really leveraged that brand on social media to build a billion-dollar industry.
She had a very famous sister too.
Right.
That helped her.
Right. She had a brand she had the Kardashian brand, but she was able to leverage it and parlay that into her own billion-dollar brand now, right? Through influencers. So, and I'm not saying that you don't have to have a famous sister, but you can leverage influencers, that are on, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, to get your brand out there. The most important thing is understanding, if you know who your customer avatar is and who's spending money with you, you want to make sure that you're, going to the influencers that have that same following, right? And you're crafting messaging and doing it in such a way that again is adding value to the consumer, right? I think a lot of times people just put stuff in the marketplace and don't really think about, how is this going to add value, or how can I at least position my messaging so that way it has perceived value, right? And that can be done in a multitude of different ways.
So if I'm a business owner, I've been in business for a year or two. To your point, I think that's such a great point. At the end of the day, if you're going to own a business, you're going to have to be a salesman or a saleswoman. So should I focus more on going after customers in person, or should I focus on doing business online? Because I have a limited amount of resources. Where should I place my efforts at?
In my opinion, I think you're going to get the most bang for your buck online. Absolutely. You can do traditional door to door, but again, it really boils down to first knowing who your customer is. Because if you're going to market online, you want to be very clear on that. Even if you don't have a huge marketing budget, you can start with as little as, $5 to $10 a day on Facebook to get your messaging out there to the right people. If you have the right message and you have the right offer and you know your audience, those are the only three components you need to really be successful, even with a really small budget. So if you're really clear on...
Hold that thoughts, because I got a question. How do I know if I have the right message? Because sometimes, what can I do as a small business owner to figure out, hey, my message is great. And one of the things I learned about business is you must have a great presentation that you're presenting. So how do I know that I have the right message?
It's a great question. And the best way is to let the market tell you. How do you do that? Well, I'll give you a perfect example with Facebook. So with Facebook, you can put ads or you can put sponsored posts in front of your target market. So if you want to test the different messaging that you have, write ads with that messaging. If you have 3 different ideas or you're not sure which one is going to work best, put it in a marketplace. Just put it out there. That's why it's important your targeting. So if you know your targeting, you can put 3 different messages out there, and based on how people respond to that messaging, that's going to help you identify if you got a winner or if you need to go back to the drawing board. And again, we're talking about doing these type of tests with very small budgets. And a lot of my clients, when we first start, we don't spend thousands of dollars a day. We may start with as little as $50 to $100, just testing stuff to identify, the messaging that is going to resonate and is going to work with them. Now, because I've been doing this a long time, I'm very well versed with copywriting as it relates to creating messages specifically that's going to resonate with the target audience, and the structure and how to properly structure the ad in terms of copywriting that's going to resonate with the target audience. But if you're not clear on what marketing message is going to resonate, then you want to just put together a few different messages and put it out into the marketplace. And you can do that with Facebook ads very inexpensively. Whereas traditional media, such as television or print media, it will cost you hundreds of thousands of dollars to test a marketing message and get it in front of the right people. Whereas now you can do that for as little as $5 to $10 a day with Facebook.
No, this is great stuff. All right, so again, $50,000 company, $100,000 company, and for you, 2 questions. Well, 1 question at a time. How did you gain access to capital? Because that's an issue for a lot of our businesses in starting. That capital to get going, to get started. So how did you gain access to capital for your company?
Sure. So I'm not going to say I really didn't need capital because we all need capital. I came from the investing world. So I developed a skill set to where I can go out and flip a house and, make, $15,000, $20,000, and I can bring that capital. If I were someone and I was just starting out and I did not have that knowledge base or those resources, money is never the issue. And when I say that, a lot of times people think, well, where am I going to get all the money to start up? Money is never the issue. If you have a good product or offer, you can actually pre-sell that. I actually teach people what I call the minimal viable offer, and minimal viable funnel formula. And essentially what that helps you do is to put together and structure an offer. And this is more so specific to people that are in service-based businesses, coaching or consulting, but you can also do this too if you're selling physical products, is to pre-sell, right? So you can actually pre-sell or take pre-orders of your product before you actually deliver. The most important thing is that you set the expectation and you tell people, hey, this is coming to the market. It's not here yet, but you can get in now for a special. So one of the best ways to get the capital is to pre-sell the product or service offering before you actually deliver. Now,
wow. That's a great point.
yeah, so you don't have to go out and raise a bunch of money. Now, if you feel like it's absolutely necessary to do so, then there are tons and tons of funding sources available for people to get money. You can get money from PayPal credit. You can get money from bank loans. There are a lot of online companies that specialize in small business funding. You can take out loans against your 401k. There are a lot of people that are in the workplace right now that have thousands of dollars sitting in their 401k that they can take low interest loans out to go ahead and start a business. You can go the friends and family route. There's multiple ways to get funds. There's people who say they can't find money. That's just an excuse, and they're not really trying, because there's more money out here than ever before. The government and the Fed is printing more and more money each and every single day. So money's never the issue. It's being resourceful enough and being able to put together an offer that people see the value in that, and they will happily exchange money for that value.
All right, so good. So we dealt with the company dealing with $25,000, $50,000. So now let's deal with a six-figure company.
Okay.
They have a little bit more cash. They're trying to grow their business. Let's say they're in the construction industry. You deal with services. So and obviously, someone, if they're they have a construction company, you can't just go on their website and purchase something. In that instance, you would have to create leads. And I think it's important. It's so important for us to understand in business, particularly when we're starting, the difference between creating leads and being able to close them. So, and I just heard Grant Cardone say something the other day that I was watching. And he said just what you said. If we are in business, the most important thing we have to know is sales. If you're not a salesman, and a lot of times what I say, if you're not a salesman, you might need to hire a salesman, but in the beginning, you might not be able to do that. So you have to learn how to sell, and that's important. So a construction company that's doing six figures, trying to get to maybe, let's say, $500,000 in revenue. What would you do with that company, and what would you target? Obviously, you gave us your format, but what are some of the things you would target with that company to try to help them get over the hump?
Sure. So I would first identify, who is their client? Like, who is that client that's going to help get them over the hump? Because when you're talking about a construction company, to go from, 150 or 200,000 to $500,000 is not that big of a jump, because the projects are generally in the thousands of dollars. So I would identify what type of projects they want and who are the customers for those projects. And then I will put together a marketing campaign that focus specifically on those type of clients and those type of projects. So, for example, if they're a construction company and let's say they specialize in building, modular homes, for example, right? Well, you have the ability to identify people who are in market to purchase a home, and based on identifying, who those people who are in market to purchase a home, as well as those individuals that have either the credit or resources to make the investment necessary. And then I will put together a marketing campaign that targeted those individuals specifically. And I will identify all of the pain points and challenges and issues that they're having in their research phase, right? Because during the sales cycle, there's a research phase where they're doing they're looking and they're trying to identify some things. So I would maybe even put together a free report, 6 things you need to know before you purchase a modular home, or 6 things you need to know before you think about getting funding or financing for your first home. So that way I can acquire that lead and nurture that lead early enough in the sales cycle, so that way I have the opportunity to educate them. And if I'm the one to educate them, then I also have the opportunity to build that trust and rapport. So when it's time to make that buying decision, I'm the logical choice, because I'm the one that held their hand, nurtured them, and educated them through that process.
No, that's great information. That's great information there. It's all about strategy, right? It's all about a game plan. And so, how long does your strategies normally take? From the time someone sits down with you and you're helping them. Again, everyone, we're with Sam Bell of Net Market Resources, and he helps companies to grow through social media, ad buys, and just many different facets. So, how long does that process from the time? Let's say right now we have some $1 million companies that are watching. Why should they use Sam Bell's company? Why should they use you? And how long would that process take from the time they get you to actually seeing some returns on their investment?
That's a great question. So the great thing is, when you're working with bigger numbers, you ever heard the saying that, small hinges swing big doors?
Yeah.
So one of the things, or I'll say one of my superpowers, is I have the ability to look at the current sales process, and I can easily and quickly identify at least 2 to 3 things that we can make small tweaks that will have a profound impact on the bottom line. And the implementation of those small tweaks and changes could be as little as 1 week to 30, 60 days. Typically, when we work with clients, from the time of us onboarding to the time to where we're launching their campaign is generally a 30-day process before we get things live. But it's very simple to come in, and there's some key questions that I always ask. Who are your target audience and customer? What is your current sales process or lead acquisition process? What's your average order value or average customer value? And then what that's going to do is help me identify, if their sales messaging is on point or if it's broken, if their sales process is functional or if it's broken, and if their positioning in the marketplace is correct or if it's broken. And just by identifying those 3 things, we can make some small tweaks and adjustments that can boost their conversion significantly. So, for example, if they have a sales process and they say, well, Sam, on average right now, it takes us, 6 months to really nurture and educate a lead. And right now our average customer acquisition cost is, upwards of, $5,000 to make a $10,000, $20,000 sale, depending on whatever it is that they're selling. Or if they say, well, our average, lead acquisition cost is this, then I can look at the sales process, and I'm going to look at every single conversion point in that sales process. And just by making some adjustments and increasing those conversion points in that sales process will have an immediate impact on their bottom line. So the bigger the company, the easier it is to save and make the money, because it's just really an evaluation of their market to message match their sales process or their lead acquisition process, and then just building a more efficient process and making sure that their messaging is more succinct to their target market, and then making sure there's also a feedback loop. A lot of times with bigger companies, and this is $1 million tip right here, is that they don't have enough communication between the marketing department and the sales department. So the marketing department is doing one thing to acquire leads, and the sales department is saying one other thing, and there's no feedback loop. So just getting a communication channel going between the marketing department that's out there doing the branding and marketing and the sales department that's actually out there talking to people, and then identifying what the pain points and issues are, because the salespeople are the one that's talking to the potential customers. The marketing people are the ones putting messaging. So there needs to be a direct correlation between those two to ensure that the pain points and the challenges that the sales team is hearing from the customers that they're speaking to is getting sent back to the marketing department so they can address those things up front. And what's going to happen is that's going to reduce it's going to reduce the amount of friction, and it's going to better educate the prospect. So by the time they get to the sales department, their conversions will increase because they will have already addressed a lot of the issues up front in the marketing itself.
That was $1 million idea right there, because a lot of times we talk about big, corporate companies, and sometimes they're so big that they don't communicate with each other. They don't communicate. One department doesn't talk to the next, and the next department doesn't talk to. So everybody's working in their own little world, and they're not communicating. Their own silos. Absolutely. So explain, and believe it or not, even large companies do not understand the difference between this question that I'm going to ask you. Explain the difference between marketing and sales. Marketing.
Yeah. So marketing, the whole purpose of marketing is to attract customers and to put your messaging out there. And actually, the way that marketing and sales should work, the way good marketing should work, it should make the sales process easy, right? Because if I'm marketing properly, then that means I'm addressing all of your pain points and issues. That means that I've properly persuaded and influenced you. So by the time you actually talk to a salesperson, I've overcome mostly all the objections. I tapped into the pain points. You already know that I have a product or service offering that is going to be of value to you. So basically, at that point, you're just closing the deal. All right. So marketing is
because sales is ultimately about overcoming objections, right?
Right. And that should be done in the marketing. If the marketing is done properly, you're going to most of those objections in the marketing. But that goes back to the feedback loop, because if the marketing department doesn't have a full understanding of what the objections and the challenges are that the sales department is facing, right? Then they don't know necessarily to put that. Now, if they're good, they should go and do their own research to identify that. But there may still be things that are specific to their product or to their service offering that may come up. Why it's imperative that the sales team communicate with the marketing team so that way they can address that. And then also the conversion mechanism that they use to drive those leads or to nurture those leads before they get to the sales department, they can address that and provide multiple conversion sales processes, meaning that email is one way, webinars are another way, direct mail, books. There's all different ways you can educate and nurture your prospects before they actually get turned over to the sales department to help address a lot of those challenges up front. So that way, by the time the sales team gets on the phone, there's very little objections at this point. They're just basically taking the order.
And I'm not going to give away $1 million idea, but I give away $100,000 idea. One of the things I learned from doing sales, and I used to do life insurance for many years, but one of the things that I learned, and this is for everybody watching, particularly if you have to deal with your customer face to face, you always want to build your presentation in such a way to where you eliminate the rebuttals in your presentation. There were many times I would go and sit down and speak with clients, and I would have my presentation, laugh and joke and talk with them. But in the presentation, I've already built in the common rebuttals that people say on an ongoing basis. That way, many times, by the time I got down to the end of the presentation, I would ask them, do you have any questions? And say, no, you answered all my questions. Yep. So it's important for us to be able to do that because, again, everybody's a salesman. So, but being able to include that inside of your presentation, being able to include those rebuttals.
Exactly. And that's really what marketing does. Good marketing helps overcome a lot of those objections, and it just makes the sales process a lot easier for people.
All right. So give everybody your name, your contact information, who you are again. And I got another question for you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can basically find all my information on sambellmarketing.com, literally just sambellmarketing.com. And specifically, if you are a coach, a consultant, or service provider, specifically, and you sell high ticket products or services, and you would like to actually have a conversation to see how we may be able to help you, you can actually just go to callsambell.com. and you can actually book a strategy session where we'll go through and look at exactly what your needs are, what your current sales process is, and determine how we can help you there. So either sambellmarketing.com, ton of information there, or you can head over to callsambell.com.
No, that is great stuff, man. That's great. So listen, there's a lot of people joining us. There's a lot of people that have come in. I would just want to say hello to everyone again. Thank you all for sharing the broadcast. A lot of individuals have been sharing the broadcast. Thank you for joining us just now. Tanisha Muhammad, thank you so much. If you have any questions, continue to place them down in the comments, and I'll get to them. So which is great. So your business sounds like from the time you started, you just blew up. You didn't have any problems. There were no hurdles at all. And, business has always been great for you. If that's not the case, tell us some of the hurdles that you've dealt with in business and, how you've had to be resilient to get to the point to where you are now with being $1 million company.
Yeah. So, running an agency, especially in the digital marketing space, there's this space changes very rapidly. Technology is always changing. You're constantly having to adapt to new things. So if you're not like in the trenches on a day-to-day basis, it's very easy to get outdated because what worked 6 months ago is not going to work 6 months from now, right? So being in this space, you have to constantly be open to learning and adapting to change. It's just part of it. So I embrace that. In terms of some of the things that I've had to really overcome, when you're buying media, specifically on really, and there's really only two major players, Facebook and Google. Like those are the major players. Now there are other places you can buy media. You got native ads, you have pop traffic, but those are what we call tier 2 and tier 3 levels of media buying traffic. Tier 1, Google, Facebook, YouTube. Those are the top tiers. I had an account that we were managing. We were spending roughly around $100,000 a month with this. And when you're spending $100,000 a month from an agency standpoint, we make our money based on a percentage of ad spend. So what wound up happening is Facebook shut down the account. Right. So when you have a client that spends $100,000 a month and Facebook comes in, they shut you down, and without reason, they just say, "Hey, we don't like the ads. We don't like what you're putting out." Boom, gave us the boot. So we had to figure out how to get that client back up and running very rapidly because.
Hold on. So you were spending $100,000 a month on Facebook?
On Facebook. And
they shut you down?
Yeah.
Wow.
So just so you understand, you would think that a company that you're spending $1 million a year with would give you some leeway. They don't care. Unless you're like a very, very big brand, or you have or you're working with a top tier rep. You could be spending $100,000. You could be spending $200,000 a month. I know guys that were spending $1 million a month get their ad account shut down, and this is a common thing. This is not something that we do everything compliantly. You got to read the policies. You got to read the terms of service, because if they make an update or a change and you're not in compliance, they'll shut you down. So we're very cognizant and very aware of that. But that was a hard lesson to learn at the time, because that took us out. And the client felt the pain too, because they were getting leads to feed to their sales floor. So if you don't have leads coming in every day to feed to your sales floor, eventually you'll lose people. So that was a struggle that we had to go through. But I didn't quit. It was just one of those things like, okay, we got to figure this out. We got to get lean for a minute, we have to work through this process. And eventually we did. We got the account back up and going, scaled back up. But that is something that I've had to deal with. Also, people, in business, your biggest asset.
Hold on. That's such a great point. I want you to hold that, because I want to go back to Facebook. a lot of people are having issues with Facebook. Although Facebook is a great platform and you can be on here and you can talk with individuals, but Facebook has been. Let's be very, very frank. Facebook has been in trouble. Even I think earlier today,
Yeah.
Mark Zuckerberg was on somewhere speaking in front of, I don't know what country is that today, but he's been on Capitol Hill. He's had to go to Europe and speak about Facebook dealing with data and privacy issues. And so how do you deal with Facebook being such a large client that can shut you down overnight? Does that scare you as a business? Should small companies be scared to advertise on Facebook? Because I think everybody is concerned about what's coming.
Yeah, so you should be scared. I think it's something that you should be aware of and educate yourself about, so that way you can be prepared. We've taken a ton of precautions. Not only do we do things about a book and to be compliant as possible, but also putting in safeguards so that way if we ever have any issues that we're prepared. And so that way you just want to be a lot more proactive than reactive. Also, don't put all your eggs in one basket. We're very dependent upon Facebook, but we also understand how to buy traffic on Google. We also understand how to buy traffic on YouTube. So we're able to diversify. And because of everything that's been happening with Facebook, a lot of people have been leaving and going to YouTube and back to Google. Ironically, because you can actually get someone on the phone at Google now. There was a time when you couldn't talk to anyone. So I've seen this.
You can't talk to anyone at Facebook now. You can talk to anyone at Facebook now.
No.
Which is unbelievable. I mean, a huge platform. I actually tried calling one time. They said, "Well, if you're a police officer, leave a message."
Yeah, you're not getting anybody on the phone at Facebook. Very rare. Everything's done through automation, a lot of AI. A lot of the ad management is done through artificial intelligence. Which obviously there's a lot of room for error when that happens. But they do have chat available, and once you get to a certain point, they will appoint you an ad rep. But you cannot say I need an ad rep. They have to choose you based on your performance, and then they will assign you one. So yeah, they don't make it easy to work with them. So you definitely have to have a tough skin, and you have to be very resourceful and creative to deal in this. A lot of people, if you go online, there are a lot of courses and people marketing and saying, hey, Facebook is easy, and it is the easiest and best platform to launch on. But there's a lot of landmines that they don't tell you about, that if you don't have the knowledge and you're not prepared for, can take you out. So no, I would tell people to embrace it. I think it's a great platform. I think there's a lot of room to help businesses grow. I think they have some of the best targeting on the platform. It's just that you just have to be aware of what you're doing, or work with someone that can help you navigate that platform, so that way you don't have any issues when you go out there to start running some ads.
Yeah, I want you to remember the other point that you're going to make. You said something about other people, but one of my companies, what they are doing, and this is a great tip for those that are watching, particularly if you're in business, what they're doing to get ahead of the game, because when you first started using Facebook, they started changing pictures. They just started changing everything. Every month seems like something was different on Facebook. So the key is to try to get ahead of it. What they're doing is they're collecting emails. So they run campaigns on social media so they can collect emails. That way they can always control their MailChimp and their Constant Contact and their email campaigns. Do you do a lot of that?
Absolutely. Yeah, that's a very great point. So getting data and owning your data is the only true way that you will be able to not be 100% dependent. And everything that we do lead gen. Whether we're doing sales, we're always capturing, name, email, phone number, and that's across the board. We run lead gen campaigns too for companies. We're running a lead gen campaign for a solar company where we capture that data, and mortgage lead campaigns as well, where we capture that data, where you are able to actively follow up with people. But absolutely, that's critical, having your data. But the other thing that I was going to mention is that your most valuable asset really are people, the people that you have working with you. Our company, the way we're set up, we're a virtual company. We have contractors all over the world that we work with, and that's by choice. That's by design. That we set up our business that way. I have a family. I have 3 little kids that I'm raising with my wife, so they require time and attention. So I designed my business to be a lifestyle business where I'm able to work and help my clients get results. But I don't have to have a big office building and a ton of overhead. It's not necessary for my business. Now, some traditional businesses go the more traditional brick and mortar route. The beautiful part about in the age we live in now with digital media technology, you can get the best talent from all over the world, and you're not confined to just working with people that are in your local geographical location, which opens up the talent pool significantly. Because if you're in a location that doesn't necessarily have a big talent pool for what you need, you have the ability to go beyond your geographical location to open up the talent pool.
No, that is great. All right, give your contact information one more time. Let everyone know how they can reach you.
Yeah, absolutely. So you can head over to sambellmarketing.com. Okay, that's sambellmarketing.com. There's a ton of information on my site. You can contact me there. Or if you are someone who is actively selling a high ticket product or service for $3,000 plus, and you're doing some sort of consulting, coaching, things like that, and you would like to actually have a conversation, you can head over to callsambell.com. Just callsambell.com.
All right. So a few more questions, and we're going to wrap up here. What conferences do you go to, or what conferences let me actually ask this question. This is a better question. I'm pretty sure you've dealt with clients and customers that say, well, I don't need your services. I can do it myself. Why should I pay you all this money when I can go on Facebook and I can post, I can send out emails, I can do all of that. What do you tell that customer or that client?
Go right ahead. Go ahead and do it.
Have you heard that a lot?
So, no. And the reason I don't goes back to what I mentioned previously. The way I position, the way I market, and the way that I frame what I do. I'm the authority on that, and we wouldn't even be having a conversation if it was a situation where they didn't need my help, right? So, if they're coming to me to have a conversation, then we've already established that they need some help, some guidance. And I tell people, go out there.
They've already established that they're about to go bankrupt. And they need
to go bankrupt. There's a lot of businesses that come to us that are doing really well. Right. I spoke with a gentleman last week because he's doing really well. He's probably doing around $250,000 a month. He wants to go to $1 million. So there are companies that come to us that want us to help them scale up to do even better. But in terms of someone saying well, why should we pay you? I make it very clear within our initial consult of the value proposition, and I'm very methodical in terms of making sure that it makes sense from a pricing standpoint, because I've been doing this for so long. Like, I know what base metrics and KPIs we need to hit. I can also really go in and look at their sales process and give them some insights as to where we can make the changes. And there's a lot of times where I turn people away. There's times I've had conversations with people that we just weren't a good fit, and that's okay. And I think that's one of the things that make us unique. And I tell all businesses this too: all customers aren't good customers. You don't want everyone to be your customer. There are some customers that just you'll clash with. They'll suck your time dry, and it won't be a good working relationship. So we evaluate the people that we work with very closely to ensure that it's going to be a good mutual beneficial relationship, and that I'll enjoy working with them just as much as they enjoy working with me.
Now, I think that's such a valuable point. I was just having a conversation yesterday and we were talking about customers and clients. And sometimes the people that give you the most headaches in business are those that are not paying the most. Sometimes those that are paying the least, they need much of your attention.
Yeah.
And so really understanding that not all money is good money is important. But when you're trying to grow sometimes and you're trying to get to that next level, sometimes I think we've all fallen into the trap where I know they might give me a headache, but I'm just going to take the business anyway.
Yeah, I've done it. We've all done it. But you learn from that. And I would say that if you have the discipline, don't. Don't think about the short term, because you got to realize it's going to cost you in time and energy that can be spent going after and acquiring ideal clients and customers that you want to work with. That's why it's imperative that you identify who your customer avatar is up front. Because if you're really clear on that, then you will also be very clear on exactly the type of clients, and you can make your top 100 of dream clients of who you want to go after and target. So that way you're very intentional about the people that that you want to work with. So that way you're not just taking on everyone that approaches you and say that they want to work with you. And eventually being in a position where you can do that. Like we're selective. We don't work with everybody. However, the clients that we do work with, we feel very strongly that we have the ability to help them to get the results that they're looking for.
No, that's good. All right, we're going to wrap up here in a few minutes. But this is great. I love that point. Ideal client. And one of the things I learned in business is, everybody says, Oprah only has 24 hours, Bill Gates only has 24 hours, the president only has 24 hours. It's a whole other subject. But we all only have a certain amount of time. But being able to maximize our time, and to your point, leverage other individuals, leverage their time, allows us to grow in business. So and I've learned in business, the sooner that you are able to find out what you are really good at, and what you really want to do, what you really want to focus on, and give some of those other tasks to other individuals, the more you can grow and scale.
Absolutely. I mean, eventually you want to get to the point to where you're working on your business and not in your business. When you first start and you're working in your business, you have to fulfill, you're wearing multiple hats, but you want to build systems and processes and develop standard operating procedures across the board. So a lot of the things that happen in my business, I focus on predominantly, marketing, sales, and strategy. Like that's what I do. The fulfillment of the strategy is done by my contractors and my team, to where they're the ones that are building out the sites, building out the pages, setting up the campaigns. I help develop the strategy. I do the high level stuff that's the most value add to my client, and then I have a team that can actually implement the fulfillment of that strategy that we help them develop.
So you're not doing everything.
No. There's no way that we can manage the client load that we have if I had to do everything. And I'm not the best at everything. I mean, yeah, website, I can put up a landing page, but I'm nowhere as skilled as my web developer. So why would I even try to do that? I have no desire to learn, CSS and all the other stuff that he does. That's what he specializes in. And I tell other businesses that. I'm like, look, you are not a social ad engineer. That's not your specialty. Focus on what it is that you're good at and put your attention where you're going to get the most return on your time, as opposed to trying to figure out and learn all this stuff. Go out and hire a specialist to do that.
No, that's such a great point. Such a great point. All right, one of our last questions. Tell us, and I don't know if I know we touched on this a little bit, but from when you started your business, what was that point where you just really started to see a growth and a burst in business to where you really were able to scale?
When I focused, honestly, there was a time where we took on every client that came to us. Hey, I got an e-commerce store. Hey, we'll work with you. Hey, I have this low tick. Hey, we'll try it. Once I stopped doing that and I focused and I said, you know what, we're only going to work exclusively with businesses that have high ticket products or services, that ability to invest and scale were we able to really systematize and streamline our process to where we can deliver and get better results for our clients and also increase our prices as well. Because when you get really good at what you do, you should be duly compensated for that. And I think a lot of people can make more money just by raising their prices, and not commoditize themselves. So I don't commoditize myself. There's tens of thousands of people who know Facebook ads, that can go and launch an ad campaign. That's not what I do. What I do is I bring a strategy to help you develop a sales process and help you refine your offer and your positioning. And then we use Facebook to put that sales process and to put that offer in front of the right people. So, we just don't run Facebook ads. We do so much more in the strategy and the positioning of that.
That is you mentioned such a great point, and that's again for everyone. I think we need to put that on a T-shirt. If you own a business, you are a salesman. Yeah. What you want to be, you need to love to be a salesman or a saleswoman, because again, like I said earlier, the key to the business is to add value and to make money. The key is your business has a mission. There's a mission that we all have in life, and a business is a vehicle to help us to achieve our mission in life. We all have a mission and purpose. Our purpose in life is not just to make a whole bunch of money and then we die. God has a God-given mission and a purpose for us. And a lot of times he gives us talents and skills and abilities. He gives us businesses so we can take those businesses into all different streams and everywhere. But we have to be able to grow those. It's great to have a great idea, but we have to be able to sell and we have to be able to make money from it. And we need to be able to maximize that money so that we can again fulfill our mission and our purpose. So it's key for us. And I love what you said. And I think that's a point that I'm going to take. And I think that's a point that many individuals need to take. Sometimes we need to increase our prices and take less customers.
Yeah.
That is such a huge point. And sometimes, one thing in business, sometimes people are scared to make those adjustments because they feel like, well, I won't have all of what I've had before. But sometimes you may have less customers, but you might have more money because your prices are high.
The truth. And then when you look at the numbers, it'll reflect that.
No, that's great. All right, we're wrapping up here. Give everybody your final thoughts, anything that you may have wanted to talk about, anything that you want everyone to know about.
I think the most important thing that I want to convey to everyone out there in the community is that there's still a ton of opportunity out there online, and don't be afraid to embrace and start doing marketing and doing digital marketing and leveraging social media. Even if you don't understand it, there are a ton of people out there, but at least start putting your message out there to the people. Also, understand who it is that you're going after, okay? Because the more clear you become on that, the easier it is going to be for you to craft messaging that's going to resonate with your target audience. And most importantly, just take action. Like, go out there, try stuff. Don't be afraid to fail. I tell people all the time, especially business people, like, you're already taking the risk by running a business. There's risk in everything you do, right? The thing is to calculate that risk and look at the reward. And at the end of the day, you have to be willing to put yourself out there. So don't be worried about what anyone's going to think. Don't be worried about if you're going to mess it up. It's okay. Mess it up, break it. That's how you learn. So the faster you fail, the faster you learn, and the faster you're going to become successful. So embrace failure. Look at it as part of the process, and just go out there and make it happen.
That's great. That's great. That's great information, sir. You really dropped some nuggets. And if you did not watch this entire video, be sure to go back from the beginning. And if I was a business owner, this guy, Sam, tell everybody as much as you can tell so that they have a clue how some of your prices that you can divulge, how much it actually costs as a business owner to have a company like yours.
So here's the thing. To actually start, when I started my company, there wasn't a lot of investment in terms of startup costs because it's all digital. So in terms of like the actual overhead, it's very low. That's why like our profit margins are like 70%. for what we do. In terms of what we charge, our price ranges, anywhere between $3,000 up to $25,000. And sometimes we actually work on a performance basis. So I have some clients where we actually do revenue shares with, where we may not charge as much on the front end, but we structured an agreement to where I actually get to share in the profits. So, if I can help a client to bring in, $200,000 a month, then, I'll get a rev share of that. So as opposed to me taking a standard agency fee, I get to participate and I have some skin in the game.
No, that's great. I mentioned that because I wanted people to understand. And Tanisha Muhammad said, great information. She said, thank you. And I wanted people to understand the type of individual you are and what type of business that you have and how valuable this information is. Information is key. Knowledge is power, but applied knowledge is better. So being, to your point, going out there and doing it and having a great strategy, doing your research and actually going out there and doing it is very, very important. Tell everyone, lastly, we're wrapping up, and tell everyone your contact information. If they want to secure your services, how do they get in contact with you?
Yeah, absolutely. Head over to sambellmarketing.com, or if you want to book a strategy session, then you can head over to callsambell.com. Okay, so that's it.
This is great. Thank you, sir. So we spent some great time here with Sam Bell of Net Market Resources, excuse me. And Sam Bell, again, is an influential speaker, industry thought leader, and a social advertising extraordinaire. And they call him the social ads engineer. Now, if they want to book you to speak, what do they need to do if they want to actually book you to speak?
Yes. So just head over to sambellmarketing.com. I actually have a media kit, a link to my media kit on there. It has all my contact information, speaking and everything there. So sambellmarketing.com, just download the media kit.
This is great. Thank you for your time, sir. This is absolutely excellent, absolutely excellent. So this episode of the USBC Directory is sponsored by, again, Right Direction Technology Solutions. Right Direction Technology Solutions employs innovative and driven IT professionals who provide risk-managed, state-of-the-art information technology services to their customers. Right Direction Technology Solutions has proven experience in supporting information systems, administrative functions, and process improvements throughout the government, and will continue to provide superior support to their customers. Right Direction Technology Solutions provides high-quality, customer-focused, and cost-effective, innovative solutions that deliver world-class IT professional services and productions that meet their customers' requirements on time, within budget, and exceeding their expectations. Right Direction Technology Solutions is committed to building long-term partnerships with their clients. So if you're looking for an IT partner, definitely reach out to them. They're committed to building long-term partnerships with the clients through quality service by providing the best technical workforce and the latest technologies to ensure their customers accomplish their goals. So reach out to our sponsor. Our sponsor, again, is Right Direction Technology Solutions. Reach out to them. Their website is directiontech.com. rightdirectiontech.com. Reach out to them, hop onto their website, and let's please support our sponsors. We must support Black-owned businesses. Listen, Mr. Sam Bell, this was a great online show. I'm actually going to go back and watch it again. And again, if you're watching this video, I highly suggest that you share it. If you know some business owners that are trying to grow their company, trying to expand, whether they are below $100,000, if they're in six figures, or if they're $1 million companies, share this video with them, because the truth is one of the things that I learned is many businesses do not have it all figured out. They might be making millions of dollars. Our sponsor is making millions of dollars today on our show. But just because you're making millions of dollars does not mean that you have it all figured out. We can always do better. We can always take new techniques, new ideas. And one of the things that I learned in business is you let the professionals do what the professionals do. So it's not necessary for me as being a business owner to try to do everything, but it is necessary for me to find someone who is a professional to be able to do the work for me and to do the work alongside of me as well. And so that's how we're going to grow. So listen, go back and watch this video. Tell everyone about it. Remember to also download our app, USBC, which stands for United States Black Chambers. Download USBC Directory. Sam, make sure you download the app over there now. Make sure you download it.
No problem.
Now, the app again is USBC, USBC directory. Locate a Black-owned business. Find a Black restaurant, Black doctor, Black. Do you have a Black doctor? And I'm pretty sure once you download the app, you will find out that there's a Black doctor. And also, speaking of Black doctor, as being business owners, a lot of times we're working so much, we're not going to the doctor. So if you're a business owner, have you been to the doctor lately? If not, download the app USBC directory and locate a doctor that you can go to. We have restaurants, we have gas stations, we have construction companies. Everything is listed there on the USBC directory app, and we do what we can to highlight our businesses. And we list Black businesses in the United States, in Canada, in the Caribbean islands, the United Kingdom, and in Africa. All over the world, we list Black-owned businesses. And if we're going to bring about a change, we are going to have to do it ourselves. So thank you again, Mr. Sam Bell of what's your company's name again?
Netmarket Resources.
Netmarket Resources. I was just this is great. Thank you so much. This is great information. And if you have any questions, place your comments down in the comments. And Sam, we'll be talking soon. We got some great things that's coming up. So thank you so much. Thank you very much for your time. You all have a great day. Thank you so much.
All right. Thanks for having me. Take care.